On this episode of Brother Sports Talk, we break down the college football playoff rankings. The committee held true to form in keeping last week's top 5 the same. There was no movement, which is shocking considering the history of the college football playoffs, be it young though. So, we will look into what we think is going to go on here in the next few weeks and let you know what you need to know. Here we go.
Sean Khalifa, man.
The distance doesn't make any difference. Just all angle and they fake it. Touchdown Notre Dame.
Over the middle, it is Morgan. Morgan carries his defender, literally.
Welcome to Brother Sports Talk. I'm Ben.
I'm Sam.
And here we go. On this episode, we break down the college football playoff rankings. The committee held true to form, just like we thought. Is that surprising to you?
Yeah, it is.
I could have seen them bumping Oklahoma State up over Iowa, dropping Notre Dame. There's been a lot of talk about that. So let's get back into what we know. Clemson's at number 1. Alabama's number 2. Ohio State 3. Notre Dame 4. Iowa 5. Oklahoma State jumps up to 6 like everybody thought, like I thought at least. And then Oklahoma is at number 7 after the big win at Baylor. Okay? So breaking down Clemson. Clemson again holds true. They won the Atlantic Division of the ACC. Their toughest game in their upcoming schedule will be against a bad South Carolina team on the road. It's a rivalry game, so nothing can happen. They should win out. But they still have what could possibly be a very good North Carolina team in the ACC championship game. Now, if North Carolina beats Clemson, we could be talking about North Carolina going into the playoffs possibly as a number 4 seed because of that win. And that would also possibly even hurt a Notre Dame because they lost to Clemson. So, because if the committee is supposed to look at common opponents, and that would be what the committee would look at between North Carolina and Notre Dame. So, we'll see what happens with them. I think that will hold true to form, win out, and be number 1 in the rankings when we're talking here at the end of the season.
At number 2, we're rolling in with the Tide. I mean, I know the old saying is defense wins championships, and it's going to hold true with Bama if their secondary comes to play. They're the number 1 run defense, but again, they are the number 17 pass defense. So we got to see, are their secondary going to come to play or not?
See, I think, though, Alabama could have a case right now to be the number 1 team in the country.
Why do you say that?
Not only are they playing great football right now and passing the eye test, they have 7 wins against the top 40. Okay, 7 wins against the top 40. Right now they're ranked number 1 strength of schedule, with remaining games strength of schedule also number 1. So if they win out, I don't know, they might still be the number 1 team in the nation before it's all said and done. I think the biggest worry for Alabama right now is trying to figure out who they will play in the college football playoffs. But if they start looking ahead, bad things could happen.
Hey, defense always wins championships.
This is true. And at number 3 is our defending national champions, Ohio State. Last year they started out in the rankings at number 16, worked their way all the way up to number 4, made it into the playoffs, beat Alabama, beat Oregon, and won the title. I think this year it comes down to the 2 games everybody's been talking about for them since August. They finally have 2 big games. The first one up this week against Michigan State at the Horseshoe. This will be a big game, especially for Michigan State if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. With the losses that everybody incurred last week, Michigan State was able to jump up to number 9 and put themselves back in hopes. If they win the Big Ten championship, they might have a case to get in as the number 4 team, maybe even possibly the number 3 in the college football playoffs. So we'll see what happens there. Then Ohio State next week would have to travel to Michigan. So if they win, they have another big game. And then winning that game, they would be undefeated, possibly facing an undefeated Iowa team in a winner-take-all Big Ten title game. Winner goes to the college football playoffs. So this is a big stretch for Ohio State. Not a lot of quality wins up to this point, but they could also make a case to be the number one team in the country if they take care of business against Michigan State, Michigan, and an undefeated Iowa team. They could possibly be the number one team with 3 very, very good wins against very quality opponents. So we'll see how that goes.
At number 4, we got Notre Dame. I mean, their only loss is to the number 1 Clemson. But to look at that, of course, number 1, they're gonna win. But I'm not sure on if they're gonna jump out of the number 4 spot or still keep it in. What do you think?
Well, Notre Dame is the only team in the playoff rankings right now up there that doesn't control their own destiny. That's weird to say. Being number 4, you win out, you think you're in. But I think the biggest thing is because of the fact if Iowa wins, they're in no matter what. Could an undefeated Oklahoma State also be undefeated? You would have three undefeated teams and then one loss Alabama and a 1-loss Notre Dame. Who are you taking there? I'm taking Alabama all day.
Got that right.
So they need a lot of help. They need the Big 12 here in the next couple weeks to beat up on each other, and then also they need to take care of business. The loss last week from Stanford hurt them because now it will still be a quality win, but I don't know if it will be as much of a quality win. At number 5, my beloved Iowa Hawkeyes. It's not always pretty, but they get the job done. They were able to beat Minnesota in the Florida Rosedale and bring home the Bronze Pig. This is the third rivalry game and third trophy game for them that they've been able to win after losing all 4 last year. Now, they still have a tough game on the road, Black Friday at Nebraska, another trophy game. And if they win that, they get all 4 trophies back in Iowa City. Now, after that, they need to make a statement to the committee late in the season by beating either whoever they play in the Big Ten title game, whether it be Michigan, Michigan State, or Ohio State. Probably Ohio State would be the best for them, but if Iowa continues to win, Iowa is in. There's no doubt about it. They take care of business. They control their own destiny. They win. They're in.
At number 6, we got Oklahoma State. I mean, it was Baylor, but since they did win, Oklahoma State did beat Baylor.
Oklahoma beat Baylor.
That too. When Oklahoma beat Baylor, Oklahoma State jumped up just because they haven't lost yet. What do you think?
Well, in the Big 12 is a mess right now.
This is very true.
You have Oklahoma TCU this week. Big game for both of those teams if they want to keep their hopes alive. I think TCU is dead in the water. They lost. They could have possibly lost their starting quarterback Trayvon Boykin to an injury, so that hurts them immensely. And then Oklahoma is playing great football right now. Beat Baylor on the road, took care of business to get themselves back. But Oklahoma has a bad loss to Texas that in the middle of the year. Whereas Notre Dame, you have to compare a 1-loss Notre Dame to a 1-loss Oklahoma at the end of the season. You're going to take Notre Dame because of Notre Dame's thrashing of Texas early in the season.
I think the committee will look at how they looked not from the beginning to the end, but from like the middle to the end to see if they progressed up or not.
You got to look at the whole body of work.
I understand that.
It's not, you don't play half a season. You got to play 12 weeks of the season.
But say like you start off very poorly and you progress great during the season.
You got to play well all season. You should be peaking at this time, but I think the committee is looking at they have to look at your whole body of work. And they're supposed to look at comparative games. Whereas Oklahoma and Notre Dame have played a comparable game against Texas, 1-1, 1 loss. you gotta
Yep,
you
I
gotta
know.
go with the team that won. Then you also have Oklahoma State playing Baylor this week. Big game. Oklahoma State, again, they control their own destiny. Win and you're in. Continue to win, continue and you get in. So we'll see if they can take care of business. Baylor only fell 4 spots to number 10, so they're still alive with some finagling, some teams getting beat. They beat Oklahoma State, then beat TCU at the end of the year. They can make a case, hey, we deserve to be in. But the biggest thing that will hurt a one-loss Baylor team is the fact that their non-conference schedule was pathetic this year. Very bad. People make fun of Iowa's schedule, non-conference schedule, and schedule over the course of the year. Baylor's is worse. That's tough to make up late in the season when you backload your schedule. You got to win if you're going to backload your schedule. So, with that being said, I think Baylor is basically dead in the water. The one conference we did not talk about today is the Pac-12.
That's true.
The Pac-12 now has, with Stanford and Utah both losing this week, only has 2 lost teams. That's the best that they have in their conference.
Mm-hmm.
So that could hurt them with the fact. But if Stanford beats a Notre Dame, wins the Pac-12 championship, they could make a case if Oklahoma State loses 2 times. You know, some teams lose, it could be fun to see. But I think for all intents and purposes, the Pac-12 is dead. They will be the team that's left out of the college football playoffs, and that will hurt the conference going forward. Though I think the conference that's actually in the best position right now in the college football playoffs
Big Ten.
is the Big Ten. It's the Big Ten. You got 2 undefeated teams in the top 5.
Yep.
One's in, one's right on the outside. Then you have another team at number 9. So you have 3 teams in the top 10, and then you have a 2-loss Michigan right there at 12, who can still make some noise. So I think the team that's sitting the best is the Big Ten, and they could possibly get 2 teams in. Who knows? You know, it could happen if Notre Dame loses to Stanford and Ohio State's only losses to an undefeated Iowa. You know, it looks good. Who knows? They could get 2 teams in. So, well, let us know what you think, who you think your top 4 is, and what you think where everything's at. Is the way that the committee has it right now, is that the true top 4? Or is maybe Oklahoma State in there, or maybe an Iowa or an Oklahoma over Notre Dame? Who knows? But follow us on social media. Let us know what you're thinking. Next week, we possibly might take questions from our followers to see what you guys are thinking, and we'll answer your questions about the college football playoff rankings in next week's episode. But look for us again Monday as we break down this week's big games with Oklahoma and TCU, Oklahoma State Baylor, and Ohio State Michigan State. We look for those games to be the best out of the college football field, and then also those 3 games have big college football playoff implications. So coming at you Monday, Brother Sports Talk. Signing off, I'm Ben.
I'm Sam.
And we're Brother Sports Talk.